and welcome to Link. Our guest today is Ivelisse Pabon de Landron. Did I do good? So glad to get you back on Link after all these years. We are just so delighted. Just as a short introduction, because I don't want to take up any more of your time with my mouth, I just have to let my audience know how I first met you. I was walking down the street in Old San Juan and saw this fabulous display of beautiful dolls, and this fabulous lady gave me a little, I didn't have that much time left in Puerto Rico. It was just luck or divine intervention or something that I should discover her. She gave me a little map and told me to follow these dots and do this, that, and the other, and I learned more about Puerto Rican history and the history of slavery and the history of Spain and the Americas and Africa in one little walk. So that's the background on how I came to know this fabulous lady. And then we met up in New York, and she came to Link, and we were just thrilled to have her. So she's going to bring us up to date now on the fabulous things she's been doing since she last visited Link. Yes, my dear. What have you been up to, and what have you been interested in, and what have you pursued since I saw you? And just keep on talking.
Well, I have been very busy since I last saw you, and I moved from Puerto Rico and I came here to Massachusetts, where I'm residing now. And I was involved in the Massachusetts Cultural Council. I had some apprenticeship grants that I was awarded. I've been at the Lowell Folk Festival representing the traditional folk art dolls of the island. I just recently won a grant also for some dolls, new dolls that I executed. And since I last spoke with you many years ago, I had not found my ancestors' manumission papers, which I did about a few months ago. I've been working very hard at putting together the whole story of a mother and daughter who came from Africa. In 1834, they were baptized in one town and then taken to another town. As a matter of fact, the town that they were taken to is the town where Lin-Manuel Miranda, the one who wrote the Hamilton play, is from. There's a sugar plantation there that was executed in the 1700s, and then one owner and then another owner, and the second owner, who was Juan Landron, he owned my ancestors, a mother and daughter, and she was 8 years old when she came from Africa. I have not found her mother's papers, but I know her mother exists because in her death certificate, it says that her natural mother was Tomasa Landron. So right there, that proves to me that they both came together on the slave ship, which was not uncommon. It happened, and there were many children that were brought to Puerto Rico. And so I have their slave registry papers. I have one of their baptism. And then my great-grandfather was born on the sugar plantation. All of her children, because she was from 8 years old to 42 years old, she was on that same plantation as a slave until slavery was abolished in 1873, March 22nd. So this story is about me finding them and connecting all of the dots through all of these years, 20 plus years that I've been researching. And the interesting thing is too that recently I discovered that there is a particular place called La Casa Blanca in Old San Juan, where a map from 1790 shows where they housed the slaves at. And I was able to get in contact with one of the architects, and he said that he doesn't doubt it, but he couldn't actually confirm it. But I did send him the confirmations of the actual.
Let me just interrupt you right here. I want to ask you a
Sure.
question. How were you able to hunt down all this information? I know you didn't pick up at an American history book.
No, I actually went to the archives in Puerto Rico, but I also used the internet because, Spain kept a meticulous account of their records, really. And so I was able to go to the Archivo de Madrid in Spain, called Pales, where I was able to find their actual manumission papers that's confirms that they were given their freedom, really. So then you have the archives in Old San Juan, which is the Archivo General. You can go there. They house many old documents. You can go to the churches too. The churches also have baptismal records, marriage. Some of them are very old, so they don't allow you to actually look at them because they're almost in pieces. But whatever has been recorded, you can actually see. As a matter of fact, the ancestry.com you can go to Family Search. Family Search is free. So if you're interested in doing any kind of research that's free, that's the place to go. Ancestry charges, you know. And then there's the Internet Archives you can go to, that's free also. A lot of people, go through ancestry.com, and I find that I like a Family Search better, actually. So, this journey to the churches, to the ruins, also to the census, and then also, of course, the slave registry that you can also find on Family Search. You can find all of those documents that I'm talking about on Family Search. Some of them are been copied, some of them haven't, but in my case, I have been able to find everything. And what I really learned, about all of this is that it's important to really share this information and inspires other people to really know, where they came from, what were they doing, what were your ancestors doing at the time, because you can actually piece things together, because in the census, it'll tell you what their occupation was, how old they were they white, were they black, were they mulatto, did they have children, so that then you start piecing together the story of their lives, really. And I found out that my great-grandfather, who was black, was born into slavery. He was born on the sugar plantation. He became a Mason, and he's documented in a book from Spain. So you know what? It's very unheard of, actually, to find that he was a mechanic, and did list, what his occupation was. So all of these things they contributed. Our African ancestors in Puerto Rico and other places, as you research and you link together their history, you can actually put together their story of what they were doing, where they lived, along with the actual history of the place, being Puerto Rico or Haiti or Spain, whichever way or whatever you're looking for in terms of your family.
And why is that important?
It's important to share this information because it helps us to see really the value of their contributions, and it also gives us pride in knowing that although they were enslaved, they had professions and they had things that they contributed. And it's very sad, yes, that the quality of their life was not what it should have been had they stayed in Africa, really. But then we don't know that, right? So what happens is that you are allowed to see how the perpetrators, because they were perpetrators and they robbed them of their life and their families, then you're able to see really that it wasn't their choice. They were actually captured, taken on a ship far away from their homeland, and brought to another place to be used and abused so that others can have monetary gain and riches. And that's a fact, really. That's a fact. Anybody who reads history and knows about slavery, and I'm not a scholar, but I know that these are the things that I've learned in my journey.
Can I
And so,
can I share a little teeny story with you?
yes, of course. I know which one you're going to tell me.
Huh?
Yes, please.
Well, you're responsible for the story because this was one of the stops that you told me to on the little self-guided tour that you sent me on. One of the stops was in a actual life-size recreation of the whole of a ship where they transported the slaves. And for all I had known before that and read and thought and believed and saw and studied, there was nothing that had an impact on me like being in that hold of the ship. And if I did, I mean, there are a lot of things I took away from that, but the one thing I would really like to share with everybody is we came here as Africans like no other human beings came to America. We didn't come on a plane or boat. We didn't come with a pocketbook, a scarf, a coat. We didn't even come standing up or sitting up. We came, and the amount of space, it's amazing to me that people could survive in that little space. It was just enough to breathe, and you couldn't go to the bathroom or, it was just, it was an experience that in some ways changed my life. But I asked you the question, and I wanted you to share why things were important to you. But I did want to share that with my audience, just to let people know it's important to know. You know, it helps you understand the present. People say, why are these folks so angry? Or why are they this? Or why are they that? Or what's this? Or why don't you forget about it? It's the past. Maybe I can grow and learn and forgive and do a lot of things, but I will never forget that my ancestors came here on their backs.
And it was millions, really. And you know, my mission all these years as an artist and a traditional doll maker has been always to honor their memory and the legacies of those who were enslaved and the contributions they made, especially, you know, in my case, to the culture of Puerto Rico. And it's a celebration of life for me and an appreciation for their contributions, although it was very painful, really. Because when you start to read about these things, and like you went and visited the museum and you saw the actual dramatization of you know, what was life like on the ship with these Africans who were enslaved, it's important for people to look at their history, really, and to know that just like, you know, other countries honor their and give tribute in a way to, you know, what happened in the Holocaust and the killing fields in Cambodia and so on and so forth. You know, you know, man has hurt man to his own injury, really, and that's since the beginning of time, really. And true justice, you know, we all want justice, really, but we honor their memory, and through the arts, through literature, through history, And it's interesting. You had said something to me, that something which was that has stayed with me, and which is very important. We have a right to say something about our ancestors, and I am the voice that is missing from my ancestors. So I tell the story through the dolls or through my paintings, or hopefully, as I'm continue to finish what I'm wrapping up right now and write the book on my findings, you know what? And I have this vision to expose the facts and the truth about what happened, although maybe it won't be well received by the people that I'm going to expose, and that would be the descendants of, of the slave owner,
Let me
which
throw
I've been in contact with them too.
let me throw another little bit of my 2 cents in. I don't want to keep interrupting you because I want to hear your
No, it's
fascinating
okay.
story, but I have to say something about those dolls and how you use the dolls to tell the story, because that was the first thing that caught my eye.
Oh,
And I really didn't know about the Taino Native
yeah.
Americans. And the way you presented all three of them, the Spanish, the African, and the Native American, it was just fabulous. Oh, you have some right there.
And then these are ones that have won some awards recently. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we see them.
Yeah. And these are like from my latest collection. But I'm going to eventually donate them to of the Puerto Rican Museum, or I was thinking about maybe some other museums that don't have that, you know in their inventory. So, because I feel that, when children go to the museums, they should see these things. Really, they should know about their own backgrounds and stuff like that, especially like in Puerto Rico, really. And they do have one museum in Chicago, which is part of a big Puerto Rican Afro movement there. So I haven't decided yet, really. But I am interested right now in, I've contacted the cultural department at the town where my ancestors were slaves, because they're going to put a museum there, and they're going to include the descendants' story, the actual slave owners' descendants' story about the plantation. And then I would like my story, my African heritage story, unless there are others in the town that are doing and have done the same thing that I've done, found their African roots in Puerto Rico. And also they're going to build an amusement park around the sugar plantation. How they're gonna execute that, I don't know. But I'm more interested in the museum and the cultural center that they're gonna put up for 2023, I believe it is. Really.
And they will be hearing your voice.
Well, I am, putting together a proposal as to what, and also my grandfather and great-grandfather built a house that is actually still standing, and the original owners was my family, my grandfather, who was a Black Puerto Rican, and his father, who was born into slavery. And they both were mechanics and worked in the sugar industry right there. And I recently had gotten in touch with the owners and told them who I was. And then my cousin went to the property registry and got the deed, and my grandfather's name is on there, and my grandmother's name, and my great-grandfather's, he was the original builder of that house. But the town historian told me that I should think about what I'm talking about, and I shouldn't talk about what I don't know. So I went and it was the oral history that house was mentioned, really. So I had that in the back of my mind, and finally I executed it, and it became a reality, and I was able to cement the fact that yes, my grandfather built that house. And it wasn't And that was a lot of money because it was $1,000 he spent on building that house. And it's a beautiful house. I sent you the picture so that you could see it. And I just got the feeling that, they didn't want me to expose that. And I recently sent him an email and said, you know what? Why don't we put a plaque on the house saying who built it and that he was associated with this? And he never got back to me, which, I'm not surprised, but in the book, I'll be able to put that and show the facts. So I'm okay with it, really. You know what I'm saying? It's like, like if you go to Martin Luther King's home in Atlanta, it shows the plaque, that was their house, really. You know what I'm saying? But
and they didn't put it up because they wanted to, it took a lot of people like you who just didn't give up. And my dear, you have 5 minutes left. You're going to have to tell us a world of information in that 5 minutes you have.
Well, what I want to say is that everybody has a choice to find their family tree, and everybody can experience a whole slew of wonderful feelings associated with it. And you will come out feeling prideful about your ancestors. And yes, there'll be some things that you won't necessarily feel so comfortable about that you find out about your family. But that's life. That's a reality of life, really. But I can tell you that once you go on that journey, you won't look back, and you'll just keep going and going until you piece it all together. And maybe it's never ending, really. So, you know what, my thing is just keep tracking and tracing and keep believing, because you'll be able to put the whole picture together eventually, and you'll feel proud of who you are and where you came from.
And okay, let's go. You got it. You got it.
So anyway, so here I am. And then this is the article that I had in Puerto Rico. Abolition of Slavery Day has a special meaning for this descendant of slaves. So people in Puerto Rico were able to read about my journey, and those that knew me when I was there will be able to then say, oh wow, she's still around, she's still doing what she set out to do. So, which is really, really nice. So I'm just very proud, and I'm very grateful for having the opportunity, La-Verne, to catch up with you again after all these years. I mean, I'm another year older, so to speak, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying? But, and I've had some setbacks, but, thank God, I'm still here. And I just want to tell the world and everyone who's listening or who will be listening that keep your joy, keep your perspective, stay positive, and really be close with your family and find forgiveness, because forgiveness sets you free from a lot of things, really. And it helps me, really, even though when I read about what happened to my ancestors and just the whole African experience in slavery, it helps me to see that I had no control over it, but that there's a day of reckoning, so to speak, really, and that people deserve, to be honored and respected, and for whatever it's worth, really, that when we give of ourselves, we receive such good things, really, because when you give with a heart filled with gratitude, and you know that there's those that have less, then you're always compensated in one way or another. So I always feel I'm rich in more ways than one, so to speak, really. And I don't mean monetarily. I think in terms of my character, my values, my morals, all of those things put together really make me complete. And even when I feel the imperfection in myself, I have to accept that also. So, You know, I'm just happy that I've been given this opportunity to talk about and people write about what I'm doing because many people have a story to tell. Everybody has a story about their family history. It's just some of us, you know, have taken the time, like 20 plus years on and off to look for it. But we all have a story to tell. And some of it could be very sad, but some of it is really very beautiful, really. So we want to keep those good memories alive and feel proud of where we came from and who we are today, and to embrace our families and give them the kind of love and respect and the unity that we need today in a world that's so uncertain, really. So we want to stay positive and keep doing what we're all doing. And that's what I could say for right now. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy I'm here with you and sharing all of this information.
Is there a number that you can share with the audience in case they want to get in touch with you, or
they can contact me at my email. It's afrodollshop@yahoo.com.
One more time, spell it, please.
AFRO, Afro, doll, DOLL, shop, SHOP, @yahoo.com.
Ivelisse, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We love having you here. Oh, by the way, are those your paintings in the back?
Oh yeah, those are mine. I'll move over a little bit so you can see them.
And where is your one-woman show?
I've done plenty of those.
Oh my God, you need a one-woman show.
You know, I've done so many shows. My last show was before the pandemic. Really.
Oh my God. Well, we got to find a way to promote you as a painter as well. Oh my God.
Well, you know what? Right now, I'm really concentrating on the book because that takes up most of my time.
And you're a writer, everything. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the last hurrah, so to speak. You know
you can do it.
Yeah,
good night, my darling, and thank you again. And we will be in touch. Night, night.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on Link.